it's fascinating to me that publications that cater to real estate agents have joined in the I Hate Real Estate Agent fan club. Now, the rest of the corporate news media does that because they get ads from Redfin, they get ads from Zillow. They don't get ads from me as a real estate agent or individual realtors for the most part. And so they really look at feeding their customers as opposed to, say, real estate agents. So here's an example. Housing Wire, which is it's behind the paywall. You have to pay for this nonsense. Study shows agents are plenty with most or few with no sales. And then they asked, well, does real estate need a higher bar to entry? What they noted was there was a report done. Now, let's break it down by the Consumer Federation of America, which is a Washington-based whole of financial misinformation, right? These are organizations in Washington, D.C. They put up a name and they raise money against that name, but they're really just political hacks, and they pay off politicians and then they raise money to say, oh, we got the politician to do something. So really, we think what's wrong with America is political action committees like the Consumer Federation of America. And they publish a new study, so says Housing Wire. Well, the reality is, and they cover themselves a little later, it's not a new study, it's the third release of the same study done actually months ago. And this study, by people who've never sold a house, bought a house, or worked for an office, there's a lot of real estate agents, 1.5 million realtors, members of the National Association of Real Estate. Now, what this study doesn't say, and Housing Wire doesn't say, and their competitor Inman, another, you have to pay to get this material, 49% of agents sold either one home or none in the past year, according to the CFA. Again, they're not analyzing the data. They're just regurgitating the nonsense created by this Washington political organization that has an agenda. And so they outlet this information to news, and the news people lap it up like pigs at a trough. So in the Housing Wire case, they're saying, do we need higher barriers to entry? What they miss in the story, the central number one mistake they make is, there's a difference between real estate agents who are licensed by states and realtors who are members of the National Association of Realtors. It was interesting that they cite the National Association and they analyze our membership, saying that there's 1.5 million. What they don't mention is there's 3 million, an additional 1.5 million, who are licensed by states, meaning the state says they should be able to sell houses, but aren't members of the National Association of Realtors, which means they don't meet our professional standards. They don't have access to our contracts. In my experience, you really can't represent a buyer or seller effectively without a contract. And either you belong to the National Association of Realtors, or maybe if you're in commercial, there's some competing, much smaller associations that have their contracts, which are inferior in my professional opinion. So what they're saying is that right off the bat, the NAR, National Association of Realtors, has already upgraded about half of the licensed agents into a better status, and the other half below should be avoided. They don't even say that. They don't even say maybe you should pick a real estate agent who's a member of the Realtors because at least they have access to documents and the multiple listing service. Well, there is a bar they could raise. I don't even say that because these people don't even take the time to analyze the data. They just get the trash sent to them by the political organization and they report it. Here's Inman, which goes even further. Agent glut means part-timers are now the majority. Okay. Leading to widespread incompetence. Well, they don't really prove that. I mean, over 80% of customers say they would use the agent that sold them a house. So customers don't find them incompetent. I'm not sure where Inman comes up with that. And pressure to maintain high commission rates. You would think it's the opposite. You would think part-timers or people sell one house a year are glad to get anything for commission and are eager, in my experience, to negotiate down their commission because they're worth less. So if anything, all these part-time agents lower commissions, don't raise them as somebody who's actually in the business rather than regurgitating political nonsense. But again, this is Inman, more details behind their paywall as if you would pay for this nonsense. You know, the other part that I think strikes me about what they're saying is that many people who are members of our association don't practice real estate sales. I know many people who are members of the MLS and our association that are investors, but they represent themselves on the transactions, or they want the data to watch their properties, or they want to use the contracts when they buy and sell their own properties, or there are appraisers that use our data for various reasons, all kinds of affiliate members for various purposes. There's managers who manage other agents who are members of the association and don't sell a house. In fact, when I was a manager, you have to be a manager in each MLS. So I had to, as part of my position with the company, be a member in 4 different MLSs. Well, and at the time, each one showed I wasn't selling a house. Does that mean I wasn't selling houses? Well, I was a manager in the business, and I had to know how to support my staff. How many of the 1.5 million are managers? They don't bother to tell. So really, this is just a cheap shot on agents by a political organization. I'm not sure what their goal is. It probably is the entire real estate industry should bow down to Zillow and Redfin, and the rest of the 1.5 million Americans like me should be pushed out of the business like Amazon did to booksellers. The problem is people like me pay federal taxes. Zillow has paid no federal taxes to date. We live locally. We're in your organizations. We're in your church or synagogue. We're your neighbors. Zillow and Amazon, who knows where they are and what they do to contribute to our society compared to real estate agents. And just for laughs, if you really want to look at how pathetic this organization, here's Inman, who in the prior article is saying, really kind of, putting down agents because some don't sell houses. Not that they need to sell houses even. They don't even make the case or even try to make the case. And then they basically accuse so many of being incompetent. And then they basically accuse us of unserving or disserving our customers by getting higher commissions as a result of all that. And then they send an email, Agent Appreciation Month. They appreciate agents so much, they're going to give us a discount to their paywall. I mean, the nerve of these people. And then these guys, Inman in particular, their business model, I think, is really events where they interview managers and top brokers and superstars of real estate agents. I wonder if they didn't have real estate agents who were members of the NAR, how many people come to their events, how many guests they even have to speak at their events. And they just badmouth us, and then they interview the competition and they worship our competition as an industry. The whole thing to me is just is laughable. So are all real estate agents good? No, a lot of them are bad. But frankly, I work with attorneys. In my opinion, in probate real estate, half the attorneys are bad in probate real estate. There's 10% that are superstars who are great. I learn from, I love seeing them. There's another 10, 20% who are very good attorneys and stay within their lane a bit. But there's a good majority that are incompetent in probate real estate. I see that every day. That's true in all businesses. The question is, what can we do to raise the standards? And one is, I think, offer solutions for more education, more value, and inform our consumers so they can make choice. There's no industry, I don't think, there is more in touch with their customers than real estate. Certainly, only in my experience, attorneys and accountants and other industries don't reach out to their customer base as often as realtors do. I'm here recording videos and doing emails to my customer base. So again, do I think all realtors are great? No. I deal with bad ones every day. But overall, I think that the Consumer Federation is taking a cheap shot. I think Inman and Housing Wire both echo what I think is a cheap shot, and really to their own detriment. I don't really understand why. So what should you do in real estate today where the market's headed? Well, as always, do what's best for you. If it's a good time to buy, let's get together and lock in a fantastic rate. Let's get a strategy together to make sure you get that rate. If you're looking to sell, let's get a plan together. Plenty of buyers, good strategy, you have leverage. I have sellers who think it takes much longer and do way too much prep time and end up losing, I think, the leverage in the transaction. So if I can help, call, text, or email. As always, make today your best day ever. Thanks so much.